All right, everyone, we are now in the second unit of our Python journey. We are going to start to learn something about conditionals. So before we get into the more complex stuff with that, I want to do and cover some of the basics related to, or basic skills related to using conditionals, and they're called comparison and logical operators. These are very important because to construct and make very sound conditional statements, we have to be very, very good at making comparison and logical operations possible in our conditional statement. So that's going to be our goal. So we're going to be looking at three topics today: Boolean values, comparison operators, and logical operators. So what are Boolean? What is Boolean? And we're going to talk about what Boolean is. So I want to give you a scenario. So we have John, and he commutes to work. And John is not late if the train's not late or if there are taxis at the station. Okay. So everything that is bolded here, those are called Boolean conditions. Like something that is either true or something that is false, and that's something there is a condition of. So Boolean condition, the true or the false state of important value. Okay. And in this one, there are conditions that can be both true or false. Is the train not late? Are there taxis? And that all determines if John is late. So Boolean is a data type that has two values, true or false. And we use these values in conditions and to make decisions in our program. And if a certain situation is true, then a Boolean value is generated by the program. Or if a certain situation is false, and it will generate false. So for example, if we had a statement today, and if that was set to a Boolean value of false, that probably means that there is no rain. Okay. In Python, there are something called falsy and truthy values. So in programming Python, certain values can also represent true, false, if they're used in a conditional situation where they are being used by either logical or comparison operators. And so we call these truthy, falsy values. So the idea of emptiness, right? So using a keyword none is false. Anything that could be empty is false. So 0, empty strings, empty list, they're all empty, so it's false. 1 represents on, and any value that is not empty is considered true. 0 is false, 1 is on in binary, so true, and 0 is false because 0 is off in binary. Lastly, anytime you have a non-falsy value, any of those values will evaluate to true. Right. So to show you some examples, what I can do is show you a function called a bool function. Since values can be either truthy or falsy, we can run a bool function on it, and it will determine if it's a true value or a false value. So if I were to print, let's say, the bool of an empty list right there, and print, compare that to a bool of, let's say, list with only one item. If I run that program, we're going to get false because empty list false, whereas a list with one value is considered true. So moving on, we're going to now talk about some operations. So there are operators that we're learning now, and they're called comparison operators. What we're doing is we get to now compare the left side and the right side. Okay, so what I want to do is say num1 is equal to 10, and num2 is equal to 3. In all these operations here, we'll either get a Boolean value of false or true. Okay, so double equal sign. We use double equal signs to compare is the left side the exact same value as the right side. Okay, because we use a single equal sign in Python when we assign a value to a variable. So we use two equal signs to check for equality in Python. We can use exclamation equals to say that this left value is not equal to right value. Okay. And then we have the greater than, less than, greater or equal to, less than equal to, and all these will value to either true or false. So we can say print num1 greater than num2. Right? We're asking, is it either greater or equal to, right? When you have double operators like here, we're looking for the or. It's not and. It can't be greater and equal to some value. It can either be greater or equal to. So if I were to run a program like this, that would be true. And if I wanted to say that result. I have a variable called result, and it holds the result of this comparison operation. I can output that result, and that would also give me true as well, because yes, it is indeed true that variable num1, which has a value of 10, is either greater or equal to variable num2. Awesome. With having comparison operators, if I want to use multiple of them, I can now use logical operators, which are combination operators. It allows me to combine multiple condition statement and Boolean condition. Okay? We don't use and or not. We don't use the logical operators to combine multiple data type values to one variable. We use logical operators to combine Boolean value. Okay? So my result is that, and I can have another result here. Let's say result 1, or let's say result B and result A. Result B is num is also not equal to num2. Now this is a little weird because you could easily just say num1 is greater than num2, but we're going to check if result A and result B is true in this situation. So what I want to do is we can say for our final result can be that is result A is true and result B is true. So how an AND operator works is that both the left side and the right side of the AND has to be true for the entire expression to be true. Whereas for the OR, as long as one of them is true, the whole statement is going to be true. And if both are true, well, then the entire statement is true. Then the NOT operator here, which will take a single Boolean value and turn it to the opposite. So if the inside was true, it's going to be false. And if the inside was false, it's going to turn it to true. Okay? So let's see this execution in our code. There we go. That is true. Result A, 10 is greater or equal to num2, so that is true. Result B, well, 10 doesn't equal to num2, therefore is true. And if I want to do a NOT, okay, now this is going to follow order of operation. We're always going to go inside the bracket first, calculate that, get a Boolean value of true, and turn it into a NOT of true, which will give us false, because NOT of true is false. Okay, and that's how you use a logical operator. We use these ands and ors to combine multiple Boolean conditions in our program to help us create more complex decision making in our program now on. Okay. All right. Something new. We're going to look at membership operators. This helps us to check if something is inside a sequence. Okay. So sequences like strings or lists, we can check like an individual component or sections inside and if it exists. Okay. So I'm going to create word is equal to hello. Okay. And we're going to check some stuff here. We can check the in and the not in. Okay, is this in something or is this not in something? Usually the first part is a segment of another sequence. Okay, so for example, I have letter A here. I'm checking is letter A inside this entire sequence. 2, letter E. Is this entire sequence in Word? Okay, so that should make sense, and the slide set should be very straightforward. But what I want to show you is print. Okay, I want to show you is E and O inside Word. All right. If looking at it, some of you might be thinking, oh, that's true. There is an E and an O. However, this is going to calculate to false because this pattern of E and O together in Word of hello is not true. It's not found. If I were to say not in, that would be true, right? So now we get to do some string verification. Okay? But if I were to say that is hello in hello, well, yes. Well, not in. Well, in Word, so we can say that's true because the entire pattern of hello exists in the word hello. Okay, so when we search for strings that are longer than one length, okay, it has to match the entire pattern of that string and has to exist in Word. Even if it existed multiple times, it will still evaluate true. So watch out for that when you solve your future problem set. And that's it. We talked about Boolean values, comparison operators, logical operators, and I also taught you membership operators. Thank you for watching. Stay classy.